Also known as suspense or a suspense thriller, it's a broad film genre that evokes excitement and suspense in the audience. We're each going to pick 5 movies for our team. Now, the way that's going to work, and then we will ask the audience to vote and let us know which team of 5 you thought had the best movies overall.
You want to sometimes pick the other person's favorite to kind of get under their skin.
Up there, in my opinion, for like greatest performance of all time.
Dude, it's so good.
It's up there next to Heath Ledger and a few others.
Welcome to Backseat Directing,
where we talk about movies, TV shows, comics, and more.
We're your hosts,
Andrew
and Aaron.
We put out new videos every Monday and Thursday.
And on this episode, we're doing a movie thriller draft.
3, 2, 1, action.
Here we are, Andrew, back with another draft. I feel like we've been doing a lot of movie and show reviews lately, and it's good to get back to another draft.
Yes, it is. And I'm very excited because these are some of my favorite movies. We're picking from thrillers, which is kind of a specific but not specific category. Right?
Yeah, you could argue a lot of movies could be like considered a thriller, you know, but I have a very like distinct thought of when I think of thrillers. And like you said, it's one of my favorite, if not my favorite genre of movie.
To start things right off, I have a definition from Google as to what a thriller is so that we can kind of narrow down these movies a little bit. So also known as suspense or a suspense thriller, it's a broad film genre that evokes excitement and suspense in the audience. The suspense element found in most movies, films, plots is particularly exploited by the filmmaker in this genre. So particularly like drawing out moments of excitement. And it's
suspense is a really good word for it.
Yes, because it's not
keeps you on the edge of your seat. That's what I kept thinking in my head. Like, what movie keeps you on the edge? You know, where you're like, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? Oh no!
Aaron's giving me a peek behind the curtain here at his justification, his process.
Well, you're the one over here throwing definitions. That's giving me an idea too.
So what movies keep you on the edge of their seat? That's how I can get ahead of Aaron. So we've done drafts a couple times, kind of explain like the general concept of what we're going to do. We're each going to pick 5 movies for our team. Now the way that's going to work is we'll flip a coin to see who goes first, and then we'll go back and forth with our picks, each drafting one movie at a time until we both have 5. And then we will ask the audience to vote either in the comments, or there should be an option of a poll in our Spotify.
In the Discord.
Yeah, wherever you decide to vote, give us a vote and let us know which team of 5 you thought had the best movies overall. So don't just pick the team that has your one favorite movie. Try to pick the team that has your favorite 5 movies.
Yeah, and
overall. And
maybe they weren't your favorite 5 movies, but the person who picked them argued them in a way and defended them in a way that you're like, oh, yeah, that's a good point. They did a great job putting this team together. Basically, who's the best GM and has the best reasons for their team?
Yeah. There's no one metric system, so you're going to pick what you think is the best team.
But there is big stakes, and those stakes are bragging rights.
And pride.
And between me and you, there's nothing more valuable than having bragging rights.
And right now you're looking at the draft debate over here on this side.
Before we continue, I want to take the time to thank our sponsors. I meant subscribers. And I wanted to mention that we post every Monday and Thursday. So if you... Yeah?
I was going to say we do have 2 sponsors to thank before I forget.
We do?
We have 2 Patreon members.
That's right.
I've been meaning to get around to naming them in our episode. So Keegan and Jay, thank you both for
supporting the show. What's up? Yeah, our links to the Discord, to our merch, and to our store is in the description of all of our YouTube channel videos. Also on Spotify, you can find the links as well. So you can join in on the conversation. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, go ahead and hit that so you know when we post new things.
Yeah, joining our Discord is a really cool way to get involved in the conversation too, especially for this episode. We take episode topic suggestions in the Discord, and this one in particular, McNeil, an awesome viewer of ours who's now become a friend. We've talked back and forth with him for a while. He's started out watching our shows on our draft episode, it seemed like. And commented and interacted with us there, letting us know who he thought had the better team. And he's joined our Discord and suggested this topic, the thriller debate.
Yeah, and there's no paywall or anything to our Discord, so just join in. And we post like updates of like different shows that we're going to be doing, what we're filming for the next week, and then we ask for suggestions and all that stuff. So join it if you want to.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. Make sure that
if you want to.
You do all that stuff, guys. I mean, come on, you got a couple minutes, use it to like, rate, subscribe, review, and join the Discord, and then you're in like Flynn. We're buddies for life.
So the audience right now is probably like, okay, why are they stalling so much? And it's because we're building suspense for this thriller draft. So I'm sure everyone's on the edge of their seat now and they're wondering who's going to be going first. And we're going to be answering that right after this.
Commercial break.
We're going to do it right now. Andrew, I have a coin, heads and tails. Go ahead and call it in the air and make sure you pick it wrong so I can go first.
Heads. Calling it. Just like I called for our box office draft. Come on, heads, don't fail me.
I quit.
I win
This
these.
is the stupidest thing ever.
I win these.
Let me try best out of 3. You can still have the first pick, but I just want to see if you're like rigging this somehow. All right. Ready?
Mm-hmm. Heads.
That was tails.
Okay.
All right, let me try again. Now heads is facing up. I had tails facing up last time.
Heads.
Heads. I need to stop putting heads up top when I flick it. That's the problem.
And that's when we switch our strategy, gang.
Jeez.
Okay. So we're about to get into our first picks. Aaron, while we're getting into this, I want you, there's some ASMR for the viewers. I've written a piece of paper. I want you to write what you think my first pick is going to be, and then I'll write yours before you do your pick, and we'll see how well we know each other.
Okay. Oh, man. I know what yours is going to be.
See, I feel like I know what yours is going to be, so that's why I thought this would be fun. It's not like it's a complete shot in the dark here. We spend like so much time sitting around each other talking about movies on and off air, so you kind of get a good idea what the other person likes.
Why I wanted to go first.
Yeah. It adds a layer to this that is really fun because we're trying to take each other's movies sometimes and not just picking the one that we want the most. You got to like pick at the right time. You don't want to take Aaron's 5th pick at your number 1. You ready?
Yep.
All right, you'll be able to show the camera after. So for the first pick of our thriller movie draft, I'm going to pick David Fincher's masterpiece, 7.
Ah, okay. That wasn't what I wrote down.
What'd you write down?
Prisoners.
Okay.
The reason that I wrote this down is because you know how much I like it. And that what you were saying as I was writing it down too, you're like, you want to sometimes pick the other person's favorite to kind of get under their skin. So I thought that's kind of where you were going, you know?
Well, I guess I don't have to write mine down now.
Yeah. Okay, 7. You want to talk about it?
Yeah, 7. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. It's my favorite David Fincher movie. David Fincher, obviously a god of the thriller genre. His movies.
Never heard of him.
If you haven't heard of him, he's the director for awesome movies like Social Network, Fight Club, Gone Girl, The Killer.
He has some of the best looking in the real world kind of movies, you know?
Yeah. He's obviously very interested in like the real world serial killer genre because he's now done like 3 to 5 movies of
They're just banger of movies, man. They're so good.
He does a really good job, and he's fits in his niche really well. And I just love the feel of his movies. Like if you're sitting and watching on like a cold, rainy day, or if it's not, it makes it feel like a rainy day, you know? Like his movies are very like dramatic and foreboding and suspenseful and thrilling. So I think to me, this is obviously the best thriller of all time. The movie built suspense in an incredible way by not showing you the villain until the 3rd act of the movie. And then when, spoiler alert for 7, by the way.
You're spoiling it right here on a draft.
Then when Kevin Spacey shows up as John Doe, just, detective! I'm here to turn myself into that. When he finally does show up, it's such a climactic payoff, and it gives value to the suspense because it's like, he's such an interesting character. They don't know. They call him John Doe. They can't find a name on him. He's burned off his fingerprints. You don't know who he is. So there's so much mystery, and mystery is what's key to the thriller / suspense genres. Is just the director or writer like giving you just enough to keep you interested. That's what pulls you to the edge of your seat. In this movie, to me, it's like, why is he doing this? Why is he ripping people apart? Why is he gorging somebody on food until they die? It's like so horrific. But like they also don't. They're careful with what they do show so that it's not like quite a horror, you know. It still fits very nicely in that mystery / thriller. And I love this movie to death. it's a contender for my all-time favorite. The more and more I think about it and rewatch it, I'll say it. It's in my top 10. We're gonna put that on a t-shirt one day.
Here we go. No.
This movie's like in my top 3 for sure. So I love Seven. I mean, Brad Pitt, Morgan Freeman, Kevin Spacey, Gwyneth Paltrow, stacked, and then David Fincher just. Oh my
Do you know? I think I'm remembering this right. Denzel Washington was
gonna
attached to this.
He was gonna be Brad Pitt's character.
Yeah.
I saw an interview.
It's like one of the. He said it was one of the roles that he wished he did that got away from him.
I know. Could you imagine?
He turned it down. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think it was probably just like it's not like he didn't like the script. I think he had something else, another project he was doing. But like, yeah, it's so crazy to have looked back and have missed out on that because like. That was David Fincher's kind of early days, you know?
Yeah.
Like nowadays, David Fincher calls and most people would probably take the role. And I see why he was calling Denzel because Denzel's obviously so talented. Could you imagine that Denzel and Morgan Freeman in that movie?
Dude.
But Brad Pitt was perfect. I wouldn't trade him.
Yeah, he did do a fantastic job.
Playing like the young up and coming kind of like still moral and optimistic, you know, still energetic and youthful to perfectly contrast Somerset or Morgan Freeman's character that's like more myopic and jaded to the world.
Yeah, it looks like Seven is one of the bigger ones that he was on first. Alien 3.
Alien 3 is one of his worst rated movies.
That was a more well-known one that's before Seven. But yeah, Seven, he wasn't the David Fincher that he is today back then.
I think Seven was his breakthrough because there was 2 or 3 movies before that, but
yeah. His fantastic movie. Great pick. I had it on my list. It's what I would have wanted second if I could get it.
That's the thing. That's the thing is I could have taken Prisoners from you.
But then I would have
Seven. You would have Seven.
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
It's the same thing. We've had this happen.
We did this before.
Where I've taken yours and then you took mine. And everyone leaves unsatisfied.
Yeah, it's just the lose-lose scenario.
We'll slug it out after number 1.
You know? All right, my first pick, since all the suspense was ripped away, because Andrew made me write it down ahead of time, I'm going to go ahead and pick Prisoners. How did you know? Oh my gosh, how did you know? I think your thing was a little less climactic than we originally were hoping.
I still thought there was a chance that you were going to want to take 7 first, because I know you also like 7.
I do like 7. I thought you were going to do me dirty and take Prisoners, because I know you also really love Prisoners as well. I would say Prisoners is in my top 3 favorite movies.
That's the thing is you can take like pretty much any David Fincher movie and pretty much any Denis Villeneuve movie and it would do well on this list.
Oh yeah,
absolutely. It would deservingly, any of their movies would fit into the top 10.
Absolutely. I'm curious what their IMDb rankings are to each other. So Prisoner has an 8.1. What does 7 have here? 8.6.
Haha.
So both really high rated movies. We got Hugh Jackman and Jake Gyllenhaal, 2 of my favorite actors. Viola Davis sneaks in there too. Like what?
Terrence Howard.
Paul Dano. Dude, this movie is stacked. And talk about being on the edge of your seat. You know, like what makes you more on edge than someone kidnapping kids? You know, because it just, whenever it comes to someone's kids, now I don't personally have kids, but I have siblings, and that's kind of how I would like relate the emotion. Like if my sisters were to get kidnapped or something, like the things that it brings out of you that you didn't even know were there. You know, like they're just enjoying Thanksgiving dinner, they're having friends over, and then later in the movie, Hugh Jackman's character is turned into a monster.
Yeah.
You know?
Keller. I think that Hugh Jackman's performance as Keller Dover is up there, in my opinion, for like greatest performance of all time.
Dude, it's so good.
It's up there next to Heath Ledger and a few others.
But Jake Gyllenhaal's performance was equally as amazing in my eyes, especially as like a detective, and just that little like quirk that he has, that little tick that he has with his eyes that he does. Like he's only doing that in this movie, you know, so he's having to consciously be aware of this like eye tick that this character has. Like how hard is that to do while you're also trying to act out your lines and, you know, and kind of react to other things happening in the scene. I also thought his mannerisms of like a detective were very accurate to how like a detective or a police officer would hold themselves. I've been on a few ride-alongs with cops and whatnot when I was growing up.
Yeah, he was in the back seat, fellas.
No, I wasn't. I was in the front seat. I was the back seat of movies directing, backseat directing, not backseat prisoner.
That's where I got confused.
Yeah. I understand the confusion there. But yeah, just how he like handles himself, how he's like trying to stay calm and de-escalate the situation while not showing a lot of emotion, because if he's getting emotional or frustrated or even like too sympathetic, like it just doesn't help, who he's dealing with. And then the twists, when Paul Dino's character whispers and he's like, what did he say?
They only cried when I left them.
Right. Yeah. Oh, the chills, man. It's such a good movie. I want to watch it right now.
Yeah. It's a great movie. It could definitely sneak its way in towards my top 10, but I don't have it in my current top 10. For once, there's a movie that's not in my top 10.
Wow, could you imagine that? He must hate this movie, no, man.
I do.
Every movie lands in this guy's top 10.
I do. No. There's only 11 movies in there. Chill out. 12 max. Okay, so that's on to my pick, which is something I'm dreading a lot.
Yeah, now it kind of gets a lot harder.
Yeah, because now I have no clue what you're going to want next.
If I went first, is that the movie you thought I would have taken first?
Prisoners?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have written down Prisoners for you. I don't know what, if any, of these ones I have on my list that are in danger of being taken by you.
None of them?
No, I wrote like 25 movies, so definitely some of them.
Yeah.
That's what makes this thriller draft in particular so hard, is like there's so many movies that fit in that category. And it's like, I don't know, 8 out of 10 of the movies that are in my actual top 10 movies are like.
Yeah. I just love this genre so much that I feel like all the movies, or not all of them, that's dramatic, but a lot of the movies, especially ones that we would consider the draft, are all equal to me. Like after Prisoners for me, like they're all like right on the same level. And I would love to watch any of them right now because I love this genre so much. This is the genre that you would say, or I would say that our short film is in too,
Yeah.
Like that suspenseful, like what's going on. It's kind of eerie the whole time,
I think that says a lot about how much we like this genre. Is that's what we chose to make first when we were making our short film was.
Right.
So I think I'm just going to go with a movie that I love. Because there's a lot of reasons on here to pick other movies, critical acclaim and the rest of the world loving them. But this movie, another movie that's in my top 10, Martin Scorsese's masterpiece this time. From 2004, I'm taking The Departed. The Departed, kid. The Departed movie starring another stacked cast: Leonardo DiCaprio, Matt Damon, Mark Wahlberg, Jack Nicholson, Martin Sheen. Like this movie is Vera Farmiga. Like this movie, I didn't see it until I was older, but since I saw it, I've watched it like half dozen times because it's such a brilliant plot following two sides of this trail where one person is a criminal acting like the cop and the other one is the cop acting like a criminal. And did I say that right?
Yes.
But they're playing reverse roles, like looking for a rat. And this is my favorite Martin Scorsese movie. I picked my favorite David Fincher movie, now my favorite Scorsese movie.
Like, yeah, they're both playing parallel characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so cool. They're perfect foils to each other. Sullivan from Matt Damon is like perfectly corrupt, and Costigan from Leonardo DiCaprio is like perfectly good and moral, but he has to do immoral things to ultimately do what's good, and then vice versa on the other side. And nobody
wins.
Yeah, I think it has a satisfying ending because even though it's like a depressing ending, and I won't spoil too much, you still have like at the very end like the comeuppance. So I feel it's an interesting choice of words.
I don't know, just roll with it.
But no, it's a movie that's like a good time, thrill ride the whole time, and you're constantly on the edge of your seat because you're wondering in every scene whether Costigan's going to get found out, Sullivan's going to get found out, and the most suspenseful scene that I can think of is when they're like doing that meeting with the Asian gentleman. And they're doing like a sale of microchips or something. And they're like, there's a sting going on, and all the characters are basically in the same vicinity at the same time. And it's like anything could go wrong here, and there could be a shootout. but it's such a good movie, a perfect example of suspense, and it won Best Picture at the Oscars. Finally, Martin Scorsese's first win for Best Picture after a year of incredible years and years of incredible movies like Taxi Driver, Cape Fear, Casino, Goodfellas. Finally wins with, and I think much deserved here because this movie's so entertaining to even rewatch. So good.
Yeah, you introduced me to this movie, and we actually watched it together for my first time. Solid movie. It's a lot of fun. Like you said, the way that he constructs the story with the two parallel guys like on the opposite side of the law, you know, but they're on the opposite side of that even.
Yeah.
Like it's so complex and confusing, and there's talk about suspense, you know, like
I think this movie won an Oscar for editing, which is like, it's like you said, it's so complex, but you don't struggle to understand it when you watch it because it's a really well done movie.
right. Yeah, the story is very clear. However, the concept is very complicated.
Yeah.
Which is awesome with
They're
these
both
movies.
trying to find each other.
Yeah.
Playing for opposite teams, you know?
Yeah.
But in disguise as the opposite teams.
Yeah, there's a rat.
We're making it more complicated.
That's me. Yeah, good movie. Probably could have guessed that you were going to take that. It's on my list here. I pretty much already had it checked off.
But I didn't think it would be super high on your list. Am I right? Would you have picked it close to the top?
If it was still available, then this next one, probably not.
Yeah.
But probably after that, if it's still on the table,
Then
like,
it's like,
yeah,
come
okay.
on. Yeah.
Man, okay, so these.
It's so hard, isn't it?
Yeah. Literally, like I said, all of these I hold kind of equal. Like I would literally be down to watch any of these right now, and it would be hard to kind of order them in my favorite to least favorite. I think I'm gonna go a little bit sideways here. You know, it may not be. I don't know if you would have seen this coming, but if you did see it coming, you might have it drafted next. So like I want it just in case, you know, because there's some other ones on my list that I don't think are as favorite of movies of yours as they are mine. So I'm gonna go ahead and kind of what feels like a curveball here and go with Knives Out.
Nice pick. Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually didn't think of Knives Out until like sitting here at the table doing my research beforehand, because I saw a different Daniel Craig movie. I think it was Layer Cake in the IMDb, like top 100 thrillers. And I was like, oh, Knives Out would be a great movie to pick. And I probably wouldn't pick it so soon, but we do both love the
I was just sitting over here thinking like, man, if Andrew got this on his team, like, cause I probably could have left this for like the 4th or 5th pick, but then if you get your 4th or 5th pick first, so if you would have gotten it on your team, I would have been really bummed.
Yeah, I watched it recently too. Sierra had never seen it, so we watched it like a week or two ago.
This movie is probably in my top 10. It's just
catching on.
It's just so good, man. If I had to pull an Andrew, like it's one of the 20 movies in my top 10. Like it's got to be up there. The twist is really good. The acting is great. The set design is like top tier.
Yeah,
you know that mansion that they're in is so good. But then, yeah, just the twist, you know, and I don't want to spoil anything, but yeah, it has Chris Evans in it, and he doesn't even come in until halfway through the movie, and it's still so good that it's okay.
It's that good that Chris Evans is like the icing on the cake and not like part of the cake. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So far we've picked all crime thrillers. So this is like the mystery thriller, and I really love these kind of.
It's still a crime thriller.
Yeah, kind of. But it's not like when I think of crime, you think of, I guess, murder is involved in this too.
It's more complex. It's not a straight up murder.
Right. Yeah. When I think of crime, like you think of like drugs and
cops and there's detectives in this movie, but they're all detectives.
Yeah. When you look it up on Google, the first thing that comes up is mystery thriller.
That's what I would put too. And then like The Departed comes up. Crime thriller.
Right, exactly. Yeah, Daniel Craig, Chris Evans, Ana de Armas, Jamie Lee Curtis, Michael Shannon. It's just, I can keep going. It's stacked. It's such a good cast, but they're all balanced really well because there's a lot of characters in a small little space. They all get the screen time and the character development that they deserve. You know, like you feel like you're you know this family and you know every part of like what's going on. You know which family members have a lot of tension. You know which ones get along together.
Well, that story does really well that I like is like the unreliable narration and the kind of the idea of subjective truth, like how you get to see shots where each family member's perspective, they're the one standing next to the dad while he's having his birthday cake served.
Mhm.
Like, so they all have their truth, you know,
Right.
but it's the truth is a little bit different.
Yeah. And Daniel Craig does a great job kind of getting away from the James Bond character, and he's got this crazy accent that he puts on, and he does such a good job.
Yeah, I think that Chris Evans calls him like Colonel Sanders or something.
Yeah, that fits. That fits. And then I forget that it's Ana de Armas because she just blends into the role so well. She seems like younger in this role, like she's more of like the kid of the family, which she's not a part of the family. She's one of the assistants or
Yeah.
whatever.
She's his caretaker. And
Yeah.
it's crazy too because she had not even spoken English for that long by the time she was cast in that role. When she was cast in War Dogs, she like didn't know English. She like learned her lines.
Isn't that
in the
crazy?
movie. Yeah, so
That's
she
so crazy.
like for her to do such a good job in like an English speaking role when she probably had only been speaking English for like a couple of years and to steal the show in that movie.
Yeah.
So impressive.
Yeah, she did a great job. This movie was nominated for an Oscar, and if assuming my internet works, I could tell you which that it was. Oh, it was Best Original Screenplay.
It was a great script.
Yeah.
From Ryan Johnson, right?
Yeah. Very cool.
But Ana de Armas, honestly, I think she could have gotten an acting Oscar for this movie. Like she's so good, and then she's also really, really good in Blade Runner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Knives Out is my second pick of my team. I'm excited that's on my list. Whenever I asked the question, like, hey, if you could watch a movie for the first time again, I would say Zootopia and Knives Out. Like
Drastically different picks.
yeah, it's just I want to relive the mystery of this movie so bad.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, I'm just gonna wait to watch it as long as I can, try to forget everything I can, and then watch it again. All right, what do you got for your second pick?
My third pick.
Third pick.
I want to announce here that we agreed to stay off of superhero movies.
Yes.
Because I'm thinking of
Yeah.
so many good superhero movies that I would have wanted to pick as I look down my list, like The Batman, The Dark Knight, V for Vendetta, Watchmen. I think all could be counted as thrillers, but I count them all superhero movies.
Mm-hmm.
Man. There's some movies too that are technically counted as thrillers that I don't even want to pick because I think they fit better into other categories.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was saying in the beginning of this draft is that thrillers is a very broad category. You could argue a lot of different types of movies to fit into this category. So even if it's not like the first thriller isn't the first thing that you think of when you think of this movie, if you can argue it good, then you can draft it. It's all about how you defend your picks. But it doesn't make it easier for you when coming up with a topic or coming up with a choice to pick. I'm kind of running out of words here to buy you time, like you're on the clock here, man.
I'm just going to go ahead and say that I'm going to pick Fight Club.
Oh, okay.
Another David Fincher masterpiece. Like I said, you could take David Fincher's whole filmography and make it my list. I could pick 5 David Fincher movies and be just happy with it.
Yep.
Fight Club it's such an incredible, special movie.
Let me guess. It's in your top 10.
No, it was in my top 10.
What pushed it out? The last I knew, Andrew, this is in your top 10.
No, let me look up my top 10 here.
That's crazy. We do need to, if you guys want an episode where we go over Andrew's top 20 movies of all time, leave a comment down below.
What pushed out Fight Club? I think I might have moved up The Social Network. So Fight Club's just outside my top 10.
Jeez, that's crazy.
I think Fight Club is like a top 10 movie for everybody who's like getting into movies and falling in love with movies. And then I think like you find out that like Seven is better and like David Fincher has better movies. I think
yeah, Prisoners is better, Knives Out is better.
I definitely would not say Knives Out is better. I think there's a good argument for Prisoners, but Fight Club is a Really good movie with some incredibly iconic lines based on a book by Chuck Palahniuk, which I think even Chuck said that the movie surpassed the book and elevated it, and I would agree. I read the book way back and when I was in high school and enjoyed the movie a lot more. The movie does such a good job with the visuals. It's a stacked cast: Helena Bonham Carter, Edward Norton as the narrator, Brad Pitt as the man we all want to be, incredibly handsome in that role. But the movie, it's special. It's historic. It's something people like will forever count in like probably top 10 all-time movies. It surpasses like being a movie in a sense, and it has like this big cultural telling of like the animalistic inside of being a human, and it talks a lot about like corporate greed and capitalism, and it touches on really dense themes while still being entertaining. And I believe it was initially kind of misrepresented in the marketing as like an action movie when it's definitely more of a drama. But it has both of those elements. There's still fights, there's still action. And I think they do a real good job of blending that in order to keep you excited while still hitting those like bigger themes.
It's also kind of similar to The Departed, where it's like kind of like parallel stories and they kind of converge into one.
Yeah.
Which is a cool dynamic. Very complex script again.
It has my favorite movie quote of all time, which is, "I don't want to die without any scars." I feel like I like that a lot because it just like talks about like
Come over here, I'll give you one.
living. It talks about just to me, it just says like living with less fear,
Yeah.
being willing to take a risk, being willing to get hurt. And it applies to more than like fighting or getting an actual physical scar. It's just like living life at the cost of living life.
Yeah, solid movie.
You say that about all my picks, but like I know that you're just like.
Do you think I'm saying that in like a negative way?
No. What I'm saying is I know you're not, but solid movie is like, it's like, come on.
You want me to like change it to like good movie, good pick?
Yeah, maybe. like solid is like, doesn't that sound like it's okay?
I mean, it is on your team, so I can't like best movie in the world.
If you worked hard on like a meal, and I was like, yeah, that dinner was solid, would you feel like it was like a good compliment?
Yeah, I'm not a chef. Okay. A solid meal for me, that's pretty good.
Okay. Whatever. What's your next pick?
Oh, okay. I'm gonna go ahead and take a David Fincher movie since you're already snacking up all of them, and that is gonna be Gone Girl.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I actually had a different one in mind. That's how many good ones he has.
You had a different one?
Yeah, I thought you were gonna pick Zodiac.
Yeah, that was a good one. I thought that was gonna be on your list for sure.
But Gone Girl's really good, and I read the book for that too. The book for that is actually incredible.
I just rewatched Gone Girl few months ago or so, and it was just as good as I remember it being. David Fincher is amazing, great script, fantastic acting in this movie. What's the actress' name?
Rosamund Pike.
Yeah, top female villain, arguably of all time. Like she's so good in this role, like and conniving, and like she makes you feel like she's the victim, but then really she's the one that's like abusing Ben Affleck. Nick is his character's name.
She plays amazing Amy.
Yeah.
Cool girl. Fun girl. Yeah, she does such a good job in that scene where she kills, spoiler alert for Gone Girl. Skip ahead 20 seconds. The scene where she kills Neil Patrick Harris's character is gut-wrenching.
Yeah, she's so cruel in this movie. And yeah, it's crazy.
It's the people who have wronged her. So there's some, I mean, it goes beyond humanity, some of the things that she does, but like it's not without her own justifications for it.
Her husband hasn't done anything on this level to her.
Nothing like framing her for murder. He's not like as far as we know, like Nick's not like abusive or anything.
Yeah, like what was her reason? Because he just didn't want to be with her?
Well, her reasoning was that he made her. You just watched the movie, didn't you?
I know, that's 3 months ago.
Short-term
memory.
He made her like give up her whole life. She moved for him. She changed who she was for him, and then he left her for a younger, funner, cooler, bouncier, cool girl.
Yeah, that's not equal to murder.
I didn't say it was equal. I said she has her justifications.
Yeah.
In a movie,
I see what you're saying.
In a movie sense, you can get behind a lot that you wouldn't in real life in backing a character.
For sure.
And I don't think she's in the right with him, but what Neil Patrick Harris's character was trying to do to control her was like very very creepy, very borderline like
Yeah.
abusive.
It almost seemed like she was letting him though, in a sense, and then turned on him.
Well, she thought she could control him.
Yeah.
And then until she realized that she couldn't, then she found a way to turn the situation in her favor. Amy's incredibly intelligent in that sense.
Yeah, I love how like detailed her planning was, you know?
Her casually emptying the blood from her arm while she's like reading a novel is like she's psychotically like sociopathically calm in her planning of this, like the depth of planning. She filled a whole diary with fake diary entries for like a year. Like it's just manic. This girl is insane.
Yeah, her memory is way better than mine, clearly.
Yeah. Like when people break up with their ex and they're like, dude, she was crazy. There's nothing on Amy.
Yeah. All right, your fourth pick, Andrew.
Oh,
what do you got?
Stop doing this to me.
Time is ticking.
Okay. God, I only have two left, and I have to pick from all of these movies to pick two to be on my team. I'm gonna go with what I think is a very special movie. After we're done, we'll talk about our honorable mentions because there's some movies I have to talk about.
Yeah.
And I can't pick them all. But for my fourth pick of the thriller draft, I'm gonna go with Memento, Christopher Nolan masterpiece.
Nice.
It's the first Chris Nolan movie of this draft, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm taking Memento. I think that it's a very special movie in terms of the script and the way it was filmed. If you haven't seen Memento, go check it out. It is filmed not necessarily backwards, but if you were to cut the movie into scenes and take it from 1 to 10, what this movie does is plays the scenes from 10 to 1.
Mm-hmm.
So like a movie played backwards would be nonsense because you wouldn't be able to understand the words. But
Yeah.
this movie is showing each scene from the last scene to the first.
We did a movie review on a few of these movies, actually, this being one of them. And I think we did a good job of explaining what happened in the movie.
Breaking this movie down is hard.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't even understand how one goes about even creating this structure of storytelling. You know, like
I think he wrote it backwards too. I think we said in that episode that he started at the last scene and wrote it backwards instead of writing it forwards.
his brain works in a different way than
Have
mine.
you ever seen Chris Nolan's like mock-up drawing first draft of Inception?
Yeah.
It's like all those lines,
There's
and
layers.
stuff.
Yeah. It's like a graph.
Yeah, he's a genius, dude. Like when it comes to artistry and storytelling, he is a genius. He tells amazing stories.
He really does.
Memento, I just love. I think if you haven't
solid movie.
we're gonna another T-shirt. We'll put it in the books. Solid movie, solid film. But
We have a few like T-shirt little slogans that we could make.
this movie's got
We need to get on it.
Carrie-Anne Moss and Guy Pearce in some of the starring roles. It leaves you guessing the whole time. Like I said, a mystery that puts you on the edge of your seat because you're wondering you're not wondering what's going to happen next. You're wondering what happened before, which is a total twist on the genre of a thriller. And the mystery is insane because every scene you start out confused, just like the main character. The main character has anterograde amnesia, I think he calls it, where every so often once he stops paying attention every couple minutes, his memory will set back to the moment of his accident where he received head trauma. So playing the scenes from last to first, you don't know what happened just before that, just like him. It does such a creative idea to put you in his shoes, and it's like experimental avant-garde style filmmaking that you wouldn't see in theaters. It's like one of Nolan's earlier films after The Following.
It's his like first one. The Following.
First feature, right?
Yeah, the Following's like an hour long.
And oh my God, imagine the Memento is your first feature film.
I was just going to say that. Like, could you imagine our first feature film being so complex and well done as Memento? Like, what in the world?
We should do a draft on like first films because like Quentin Tarantino had Reservoir Dogs, Greta Gerwig had Lady Bird. Like we've had some incredible debut films.
Yeah, it's mind blowing. I don't even know how to like comprehend Memento, right? But at the same time, when you're watching it, like you understand. You know, like just like some of the other movies we were talking about, like it's all complex stories, but the way that these directors, cinematographers, editors are presenting the story to you, you're able to get it. And that's
the key.
Not easy to do.
Yeah.
You know, it's very easy to kind of get lost in the script or lost in the editing. So a solid movie, Andrew. Solid.
What is your fourth pick?
This is kind of where it's getting a little bit harder for me. I've definitely gone more of like picking movies that are close to me, you know, and I'm gonna stay that route. But there's too many movies that are like really close to me that I would want to take. And you're not helping me out by filling up any dead space here with your words.
You're not
So
helping me out either.
I did for a little bit on that one pick. You were taking forever.
I thought you were about to say that I'm not helping you out by taking the movies that you want to take and narrowing your list down, and that's why I fired off my response without comprehending what you said first.
No, I'm just asking you to co-host, man, not pick my list.
I can talk a little bit more about Memento while you decide.
No, I think I got it. It's just my fifth pick is going to be really hard because I don't think either of those picks are on your list. So this pick I'm going to go ahead and take. It's another Christopher Nolan movie. I would say it's an underrated Christopher Nolan movie, but that doesn't mean that it's a bad Christopher Nolan movie because those don't even exist. This movie also has Hugh Jackman, who's on my list, and it has another fantastic actor as well. Christian Bale.
Scarlett Johansson. Michael Caine. Why do you need IMDb when you have me?
The movie is
The Prestige.
I
think David Bowie's in this movie too. I think he's the one, unless I'm totally flubbing that name, but they have, I think that he's the one who's playing Nikola Tesla.
I think you're right. Let me see. But yeah, The Prestige, it's kind of another one of those movies where the characters aren't really clear, until the very end. And that is an element that really keeps you on the edge of your seat, really keeps the suspense because you're thinking because this movie takes place, the 1800s, early 1900s?
Maybe late 18, early 19, yeah.
Yeah. And you're just wondering the whole time, how is this possible? How is this guy able to do this, And basically you have this guy who has a secret power, or I don't want to spoil the whole thing, but he's able to do these magic tricks.
They both have secrets
that Hugh Jackman's character can't figure out, and it ends up consuming him. And he ends up kind of, I guess you could say, crossing the line, crossing his moral...
Sacrificing everything, really.
Yeah, his moral boundaries and whatnot to kind of become the best. And yeah, the ending of the movie is good.
What I love about this movie is that it takes something like competing magic acts. And in theory, you're like, okay, maybe it doesn't sound that good to you. Maybe it sounds even a little silly, like it wouldn't be like a drama. But it takes it and turns it into this gripping thriller on the edge of your seat where, like you said, the mystery of the tricks makes us feel like we're audience members and makes us on the edge of our seat wondering, how is he doing that trick? Like, we're seeing Hugh Jackman go to such lengths, like, how is he doing it? And then we're also like, how is he doing it?
Yeah.
It does such a good job of turning this concept like Chris Nolan does, turning just a concept into like a perfectly executed story.
Yeah, and magic already has this sense of suspense, because there's a lot of deception going on.
We're in the dark, yeah.
Yeah. And
powerful agents to the uninitiated.
And yeah, this movie is really great. I remember watching it for the first time and I was just blown away. Hugh Jackman and Christian Bale, dynamic duo. They're so good on screen together.
Dude, you've got Hugh Jackman and Christian Bale. You've got Hugh Jackman and Jake Gyllenhaal. You've got Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman. This is some crazy
Brad Pitt and Edward Norton.
Yeah. I got the Brad Pitt team. You got the Hugh Jackman team.
That's funny. All right. So Andrew has his last pick coming up, and he's got a long list over there of picks that have not been taken. So while he's thinking of his last pick, I'm going to go ahead and recap his team for you guys. For his first pick, he picked Seven, and then he picked The Departed, Fight Club, and then Memento was his last pick. So now going into his fifth pick, he's kind of breaking down a bunch of movies here.
I'm gonna do something that's unexpected and potentially filled with some recency bias.
Yeah, that's hard to get around in these drafts.
I watched this movie 2 days ago.
Oh,
so I'm going to put
it's fresh.
I'm gonna put Baby Driver on my team.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Me and Aaron were talking about this movie earlier today.
Solid movie.
It's another crime thriller. It stars Ansel Elgort, and the cast is insane. It has Kevin Spacey, John Bernthal, John Hamm, Issa Rodriguez maybe, and it has.
This is so far the only movie that I haven't seen on either of our lists. Obviously, on my list, I've seen all my movies, but yeah, I didn't realize that this is a thriller because I've never seen it.
Yeah,
so
it's a crime movie which primarily focuses on the driver, the getaway driver, played by Ansel Elgort. His name is Baby, Baby, Baby. So
yeah, it says action thriller when you look it up.
Yeah, it's the movie. The reason my pick was so hard, even though I love this movie, is that this movie is like does err on the action side, but there is definitely like a heavy crime thriller element to the story as well. And this movie does a great job pulse-poundingly putting you to the edge of your seat with chase sequences and awesome action sequences that combined with music. Edgar Wright is a great underappreciated director. He also did Scott Pilgrim versus the World. He did the Hot Fuzz, Shaun of the Dead, like a bunch of great movies. So I think that this is my favorite Edgar Wright movie, and it's like a more recent one.
Does the action of the movie drive the suspense, or does the story itself drive the suspense?
It's hard to say. I think that the action more so drives the suspense.
Yeah.
Like but there's like an overarching fear of a certain character of like being trapped in a situation basically, and like trying to like escape that situation is like the overall arc for the character. So I think that this movie fits well in the thriller genre still, because like the element of crime basically.
Sure.
Like and it's just so many good performances. I mean, Jamie Foxx is incredible in this movie. Ansel Elgort sells it. The action is really good. The thriller component is really good. But the main takeaway from this movie is that it is the best way I have ever seen sound used in a movie, and that's sound cues, that's Foley, that's soundtrack, that's original score. Like it is the best sound design I've ever seen in a movie, and if you watch it, I think you might agree.
I just got a surround sound system, and Andrew was recommending that I watch this movie with the surround sound because he says that it would add to the experience quite a bit. I really want to see this movie, and it's finally on Amazon, so I will probably watch it in the next week or so.
Also, when I made my picks, I wanted to spread the love to like some different directors. So I've got 2 David Finchers, Chris Nolan, Martin Scorsese, and Edgar Wright. So I didn't want to pick all Chris Nolan because there's some other Chris Nolan movies I could have picked. Yeah. I didn't want to pick all David Fincher because I could have picked Zodiac, could have picked Girl with Dragon Tattoo. Like
right. You don't want your team to be one-dimensional.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. You want to appeal to different audience members.
I'm stuck between 2 movies right now. Both of them I don't think were really on your radar at all. I haven't really heard you talk about these movies kind of outside of this episode. So that's why I was able to save them for my last pick, kind of like Baby Driver for you. Like I haven't seen it, so that would have been safe here at the end. And I think I'm going to go with the one that I also have seen more recently, and that's going to be Tom Cruise's Collateral.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, are you going to pick Top Gun Maverick? I don't know if that fits.
Dude, I was on the edge of my seat the whole time. I didn't know if the plane was going to make it. No, I'm going to pick Collateral. This movie I watched for the first time last year, and just the dynamic between this like expert killer and this cab driver of Jamie Foxx.
Again.
He does such a good job in this movie. It's crazy. The only thing that I don't like about this movie, and it's literally only one thing, and that's Tom Cruise's hair.
It's the blonde hair?
It's like gray. It's not even blonde. It's gray. Like he made to look older than he is. I feel like it would have just been better for the character just to have it be his normal hair color.
I think the character's name is Vincent.
I got it pulled up right here. Yeah, it is. Vincent, and Max. Which
hey, he's Max again.
I was gonna say Jamie Foxx playing Max again, but we also have Mark Ruffalo and Jada Pinkett Smith too, which I didn't realize till just now.
Rewatched that movie. I didn't even remember
Mark Ruffalo. I'll tell you, when I was watching this movie for the first time, I made it probably halfway through the movie without even recognizing him.
He's an incredible actor.
And Brooke my wife was like, "Is that Hulk?" And I'm like, I don't think so. I see why you're saying that, but I don't think so. And then he said another line, and I was like, son of a biscuit, you're right.
Was that-
So I looked it up, and I was like, oh my gosh.
What was that other line? That's my secret cap.
Yeah.
I'm always angry. But he's so widely known for being the Hulk, but he's so good in Spotlight.
Oh, yeah.
Like he's in he's in like a whole range of movies. He's in the Adam
Absolutely.
Project, he's in Begin Again, he's in Poor Things, he's getting a lot of recognition for. He's a very talented actor. He disappears into some roles.
Yeah. So Collateral is also kind of, it's got like action in it too, but I wouldn't say the action necessarily drives the mystery.
I think it's has more thriller components.
Yeah, it's more of, let me look it up, see what Google has it as. I think it's like a mystery thriller, kind of like Knives Out, Collateral movie.
Might even be like drama thriller. I don't know.
Thriller / crime is what it says on Google. But yeah, Jamie Foxx was nominated for an Oscar for Best Supporting Role and nominated for film editing as well. So it got 2 Oscar nominations.
That movie is directed by Michael Mann, who is like famous for directing crime thrillers. He directed Heat. Just last year, he directed a new movie called Ferrari that is not getting a whole ton of like press and box office, but it's starring Adam Driver.
Yeah, I feel like that one was kind of tough because just 3 years earlier, Ford versus Ferrari came out. Yeah. So I feel like people were like, didn't I just watch this?
But Michael Mann's a legend. I mean, we're talking about the guy who inspires Chris Nolan. So like the inspiration for our inspiration.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I just really loved the contrast of the 2 characters where one's like completely in control and the other one is like, you can tell very nervous, and he does such a good line of like delivering, or such a good job of delivering those lines as he's like on edge and nervous, but trying to like gather himself, you know? And then Tom Cruise in the stunts is obviously amazing. Like we've said this on other episodes, but they use clips of him drawing his gun, you know, in training for police officers and stuff, of how fast to be and stuff. Yeah. Like his draw is like perfect.
I'd pay more attention if they were playing a clip of Tom Cruise than if it was like some random person doing the video, honestly. So it's a good idea on their part.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I really like this movie a lot.
You want to go over our picks?
Absolutely.
All right. So my name is Andrew. And
hello, Andrew.
You might want to remember that for when you cast your vote. My 5 thrillers are Seven, Fight Club, The Departed, Memento, and Baby Driver.
Nice. Hello, my name is Aaron, and I picked Prisoners, Knives Out, Gone Girl, The Prestige, and Collateral. Boom.
10 incredible movies. 10 of, some of the top thrillers of all time. I have some honorable mentions if you want to hear them.
Yeah, let's hear it.
So movies that didn't get picked. The 3 that were like just off the edge of my list that come to mind are Parasite, the Oscar award-winning movie, Get Out, and Silence of the Lambs, which Silence of the Lambs is famous for winning like the big 5. It's like 5 main Oscars, like Best Directing, Best Picture, Best Actor, Best Actress, and I think Best Original Screenplay. And only 3 movies in history have ever done that, and Silence of the Lambs is one of them. So obviously that movie's iconic.
Why didn't you pick it?
I wanted to pick it for that, for like the wide known acclaim, but it's not in my like top 10, top 20 movies of all time. I do love it. It's great, and Anthony Hopkins delivers one of the all-time performances as Hannibal Lecter in that movie.
So you hate it?
I do not hate it.
You heard it here.
Jodie Foster's really amazing in that movie too. All right, and then some other movies that narrowly escaped pick, probably by both of us. Drive with Ryan Gosling. Inception, I just feel like doesn't count that much as a thriller for me.
I looked it up. It's a sci-fi action.
Sci-fi and action. Those, so like, I feel like we should look at the first 2 categories. Thriller's not that prominent to come in third or tertiary or
right.
So I think that's action sci-fi is a good pick for that.
Yeah.
Pulp Fiction, again, a little off for me as a thriller. I don't even know what to include it as other than drama, but I guess it would be a thriller. You picked The Prestige. American Psycho narrowly missed my list too. That's a good movie. Training Day, I wanted to pick that one so bad as well.
That one's good.
Such a good movie.
I just watched that one recently, yeah.
But yeah, Denzel and Ethan Hawke's so good in that movie.
Yeah, very good.
Who directs Training Day? It's the guy who did Equalizer.
Let me look it up real quick.
This is going to kill me. Training Day is directed by Fuqua.
Fuqua.
Anton Fuqua, yeah. He also directs Southpaw. He directs a bunch of movies that I really like. Then Zodiac, we already talked about. Black Swan, I watched recently, a Darren Aronofsky movie. I didn't like it that much.
I'm kind of surprised you didn't pick Zodiac. I was thinking that might have been on your list
I watched
because
it recently. And
yeah,
I
you
really
watched it
liked
recently and how much you were talking it up when you were watching it. All right, you had high praise for that movie.
I just love David Fincher movies. Old Boy, I also watched recently. It's a famous Korean film from Park Chan-wook. It's a good movie. Very, very weird movie. Nightcrawler with Jake Gyllenhaal. Shutter Island by Scorsese with DiCaprio. The Town by Ben Affleck with Ben Affleck.
Got it on my list.
Such a good movie, right?
Yeah,
dude,
it really
that
is.
scene is so iconic. That
Jeremy Renner.
Yeah, as Jem, and he's like, "I need you to come with me. We're gonna hurt some people, and you can't ask me why. You can't ask me why. Whose car we taking?" Yes. No Country for Old Men. Oh my God, the Coen Brothers movie with
I haven't seen it yet.
with Thanos.
Yeah.
Josh Brolin.
Yep.
Oh God, that movie is so good, and Javier Bardem is really, really, really good in that movie. V for Vendetta, superhero movie. Room, such a gripping A24 movie with Brie Larson. God, that movie made me cry.
I was gonna watch that a few weeks ago, and then I was looking at like the description and some of the reviews, and I was like, this seems too sad for the mood that I'm in right now.
Did the review say prepare to be emotionally destroyed? Because
pretty much
that is what I would tell
pretty much. I was like, I don't think I'm ready for this.
Dude.
And I think my wife is like cleaning or doing whatever. So like if she comes and sits down towards the end of this movie,
Don't
like
let Brooks see that
she's not gonna enjoy herself.
That is probably the most devastating movie I've ever watched.
Ugh.
But like in some ways, like also hopeful, and like, you know, it's something.
Yeah.
Like the part that I cried at was like of relief, honestly.
Right.
So like there's good and bad in the movie, but it's a top tier movie for sure. I think Brie Larson was nominated for Best Actress, if not won for Best Actress for that.
I want to say she won.
Phone Booth, dude. I freaking love Phone Booth. That's
Phone Booth?
a Colin Farrell movie.
I haven't seen that one.
You haven't seen that?
I don't think so.
It's a one scene movie. The whole movie takes place in a phone booth.
Oh. There's another movie like that with Jake Gyllenhaal, The Guilty.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Call
movies
Service,
like that.
yeah.
There's a Ryan Gosling movie.
Buried.
Ryan Reynolds movie, yeah.
Yeah,
you knew what I meant.
Yep.
There's one called The Call, I think is a one scene movie.
Colin Farrell.
There's one called Cellular with Chris Evans.
We should do a one
scene movie.
Yeah. That'd be fun to do.
Yeah, I'd love to do that. It takes so much creativity to do that, to film the whole scene in the whole movie in one.
Yeah, like how do you capture someone's attention for an hour and a half, let's say, only being in one location, especially something as small as a phone booth or a coffin.
Yeah.
You know, like
Phone booth cuts away to other locations, but it's like 90% of the movie is in the phone booth.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Plus, getting creative with the angles is so hard to not bore the audience.
Right.
You've got this box that your character's in.
The Guilty is kind of the same. Like they have a few cutaways, but not that many. But they're also in like an office.
Yeah.
So they're moving around the office.
Is really short, I think, isn't it?
It is.
I think it's like
but
an hour.
It was good. It was good. It's a nice, like, digestible movie.
I like
if you don't have
movies.
a lot of time.
So then Disturbia with Shia LaBeouf. You've seen that probably, right?
I think so.
Disturbia and Eagle Eye are really good thrillers with Shia LaBeouf.
Oh, I didn't even think of Eagle Eye.
I thought you might pick that.
I like
You really
Eagle
liked
Eye.
it. It's on
Yeah.
Netflix right now.
I also really like Enemy of State.
Yeah, if you like Eagle Eye, that's with Dwayne Johnson, right?
No, it's with Will Smith.
Oh, okay. I don't know what movie I'm thinking of.
It's basically Eagle Eye before Eagle Eye came out. It's like,
yeah,
same thing.
If you like
But
Eagle
came out
Eye,
in the
you should watch Disturbia. It's about him being on house arrest and he thinks his neighbor is a killer. And he's like, because he's on house arrest and he gets bored, he starts watching his neighbors.
Yeah.
It's such a good, underrated movie. What else do we have here? Taken, which I feel like is way more on the action side. So I didn't pick it.
Yep.
I already mentioned Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. You picked Gone Girl, and then Arrival from Denis Villeneuve, another Villeneuve movie.
I had that one on my radar. I watched that relatively recently. That was a good movie.
But also like sci-fi mystery, I feel like are more, I guess.
Present, yeah.
And then Sicario, also from Denis, which I feel like is a crime thriller. Joker and Panic Room, which Panic Room is another David Fincher movie. It's an older one, but it's really good.
There's two on my list that you didn't say. One of them was the one that I was kind of debating back and forth for my fifth pick.
I'm curious.
And that's End of Watch.
With Jake Gyllenhaal?
Yeah. I really love that movie. As a kid, I was in Police Explorers, right, where we were learning how to be cops and stuff. And we went to states competition and we all watched this movie right before the competition the night before. And it was just like a good experience. You know, it was very emotional, you know, at the end of that movie.
Spoiler.
Yeah.
Not a spoiler.
Not a
but
spoiler.
I mean,
It's just
say the spoiler.
emotional.
It's okay.
Yeah.
They I didn't love that movie, and I don't like the ending, but it's I like the way that it's filmed. I feel like it's very like spontaneous and handheld.
It's been a while since I've seen it, but I do remember really liking it. I've seen it twice, I believe.
It's Michael Pena and Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah. And again, I think they do just such a good job of like showing the life of being a cop, you know, and going into these tough situations and stuff. Another movie that I have on here that I watched recently is Mystic River. That one was really good.
I have to rewatch that.
Yeah. When I texted you that I watched it, you said that you don't remember it being that good. Rewatch it.
Yeah.
It was that good.
I think it was slow. I remember it being slow, but I think I have more of appreciation for slow movies now than I did when I watched that. Maybe.
Yeah. I think it's right up your alley now.
Is that my daughter, Sean? I was watching the clip on Netflix the other day.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's a good movie. I recommend it for sure. All right. That is a wrap for our thriller draft.
Yeah, don't forget to vote.
Yeah, that's how we get those bragging rights, you know, like, and that's very important to the show. So whichever list you think is the best list of thriller movies or was argued or defended the best, make sure you let us know down in the description or even in our Discord where this episode was actually recommended for us to do. If you have any other draft or debate recommendations, let us know either in the comments or on the Discord, and we'll try to get those out. We're normally pretty quick at getting recommendations out, you know, so we do a lot of shows, so sometimes it's helpful to, you know, to get
suggestions.
Yeah, get suggestions and see what the audience wants to hear, you know. But yeah, we post every Monday and Thursday, our full episodes. Every once in a while, we throw in a third episode there. So make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of them.
The notification bell, too.
That's right. We have a short film coming out soon. It's called The Body. The poster is actually hanging up behind us. So I'm very excited for that to finally come out. Hopefully, it'll be done in the next few weeks. And then from there, we're going to try to submit it to some short film stuff. And then from there, we'll see if we can put it on YouTube or yeah. But thank you.
Expect it, you know, soon.
Yeah,
eventually.
Hopefully soon. Exactly. Eventually. That's our next T-shirt. Eventually. Period. With our mirror on the back.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and that's a wrap.